As anyone in the Jurassic World Evolution 3 community can tell, something weird is going on, at least with Jurassic World Evolution 3 and possibly with the entire franchise. We're going to talk about that a bit today. I have an idea that might explain what's going on. It's completely conjecture, but there's a little bit of supporting evidence. So, to recap the JW3 situation, we are 2 monthly updates behind. Frontier promised us a returning animal every month. In April, we didn't get the animal, and there was a bunch of silence, and no explanation was given until the very, very end that it wasn't coming. And we've still received not much information beyond the fact that they've confirmed the animal for April and now the delayed animal for May, but they're still not coming. We received this new message today that just says, yeah, it's not coming this month at all. So we're going to actually go all the way into June, possibly get a triple animal release. Or maybe that'll be delayed even further. Who knows? Details are very sparse, but Frontier consistently says it's something outside of their control. And there was actually I forgot to include this in the slides, but there was a investor update about JW3 that said that it was something completely outside of Frontier that was causing this issue. Now, JW3 was kind of the first big sign that something was happening. It was the most notable thing in April that pointed towards some radio silence from the franchise. But people online started talking and noticed that it seemed like the mobile games were being pretty quiet too. Nobody was posting on social media or really having any substantial updates. So people started really speculating on what was going on because that made it seem like it was a bigger issue than just Frontier and Jurassic World Evolution 3. People speculated that maybe this was coming from Universal. And it was revealed that Universal was in the process of or had recently hired a new brand manager, which seemed like potentially some support for Universal maybe retooling how they promoted or handled Jurassic as a brand. But this idea kind of fell a little bit out of favor. People stopped talking about this as much because the mobile games did put out some new creatures. So it seemed like maybe it was just a Frontier thing, and maybe the mobile game delays were like coincidental, right? Since they didn't seem as substantial. But I don't think it's as clear-cut as that. I don't think we can really rely on the mobile games to take the temperature of the broader franchise. So when we talk about the mobile games, we're talking about Jurassic World the game and Jurassic World Alive. These were both Ludia games, run by the same company, developed by the same company, whatever. I'm not familiar with Jurassic World the game, but I am very familiar with Jurassic World Alive. I played the hell out of this game when it was new. Up until partway into like 2.0, like 2.2 or something is when I think I quit. And so back when I played this game, I followed it very closely. I was very competitive in this game. And so one thing I paid a lot of attention to was the data mining. They would put out a new update, and then data miners would go through and pull all sorts of information out of that update that wasn't actually part of the update. And at least from my perspective, Jurassic World Alive had a crazy amount of things pushed into updates that weren't immediately released. So the data miners would find dinosaurs in this game that would not come out for months. They would find dinosaurs in this game that would turn out to be from upcoming movies. They would data mine, and the first reveal we got for I don't remember which animals this was. I don't remember if this was Dominion. It was probably Dominion. And I don't remember which animals it was, but we got animals that were the first place we ever saw the animal, ever saw a depiction of the franchise version of the animal, was from a data mine from Jurassic World Live on a Discord server. I don't know how public this was. I don't remember the details, but this 100% happened. So, my point I'm making is that these games front load their content. They come out, they are generating content and pushing it out into the app behind the scenes months ahead of time. And they trickle out new species through events in game over those months. This means that when a new animal is released in these games, it does not mean it's a new animal. It might have been in the code for 3 months, complete and just sitting there, waiting for somebody to flip a switch in the back end and release it through an event. So when people say that these games updated since April, that's not necessarily true. Now, I haven't been following these games, but when I looked online and did research, the best I could find for Jurassic World Alive is bug fix updates. The last one that's listed on their website is from April 10th, before all this drama kicked off with Jurassic World Evolution. Uh, and I saw a comment from somebody on a Reddit, on one of the subreddits, probably Jurassic World Evolution subreddit, talking about like Ludia is a money first mobile game company, like most mobile game companies, right? They don't really give a shit about the quality of their game. Let's be honest. This game was a buggy nightmare before they went insane with pushing updates. And now I don't know what the technical state of the game is. I mean, update 3.19 technical issues. That was every update was technical issues when I played. I don't know what the current state of the game is now, but I know they follow a fairly strict cadence for updates, right? They've done the metrics, they've done the behind the scenes type research. How do we keep people playing this game and spending as much money as possible? Well, we need updates to come out this often. And so the updates are pretty evenly spaced and consistent. And people are starting to talk about how Jurassic World Alive is now falling behind. There should be a content update coming out around now, like a week ago or something, and it's not there yet. So this doesn't seem like it's like set in stone that Jurassic World Alive is also now kind of frozen on updates. But it's looking like it might be that way. And the people who said, no, don't worry about it, they put out animals, I think they might be wrong. I think that might not be an actual relevant sign for things. In the same vein, Jurassic World, the game, also quiet. Last update, April 16th, that I could find by looking at Google Play. And they've had new animals as well, but like I said with Jurassic World Live, I don't think that actually means anything. I think those animals very likely were cleared of their rights months ago. And as far as Universal knows, I imagine, as far as Universal knows, they think these animals are already available in the game for months, but they haven't actually been formally released, which allows these games to kind of cover their ass and trickle out small amounts of content in this gap time, right? So, another thing that happened is the licensing expo. So you might say, well, this is all well and good, but we had the licensing expo. We know Jurassic was there. So clearly Universal, is full steam ahead. There's no problems with the brand, right? It's obvious if they're at the licensing expo, right? Well, about that was a dud. That licensing expo, that was nothing for the franchise. They just had a handful of toys. You can go to the movie poster guy on Instagram and you can watch his walkthrough of the Universal licensing expo. There's like a handful of Jurassic toys. There's this Distortus Rex. There's like a stuffed Aqualops. There's almost nothing for Jurassic there. Plus, there's this like 94-page Expo magazine that comes with this. You can find this online and just look through the whole thing. There's like nothing from Jurassic in that. Now, granted, Universal only has like a couple of dedicated pages, but the big point is that the amount of Jurassic merch, the amount of exposure they're giving to the brand at this expo is very minimal. The fact that they put it on this teaser for like 2 days left till the expo is basically the biggest thing the franchise got from this. And that's not terribly meaningful. So this thing, I mean, like, we're between movies, right? The new movie's not announced. This could just be a lull because Universal doesn't really have much to share right now. This alone by itself, not necessarily cause for concern. It's the combination of all of these little pieces that starts to paint more of a picture. All right, so we're gonna go full crackpot territory now. We're gonna we're gonna start connecting lines between things, doing research with and talking about rumor mill shit and like unsubstantiated stuff, and speculating wildly. But this feels worth sharing. This feels plausible enough that I think it's interesting and worth talking about. So let's do it. Here is the theory that I have come up with. I came up with this theory while talking with my friend and channel collaborator Garrett / the Fisherman, who has been in a few multiplayer videos on this channel, including Ark and the second RimWorld run. And we spun up this idea at the gym that maybe there's like a licensing dispute thing going on here, right? This happens, right? You have the original source of the franchise, then you have Universal, who made the movie and kind of made it even bigger, and then you have the game people. And the game people are very much at the bottom of that stack. They have the least pull for anything, right? So it's happened before in other franchises, the notable one being Friday the 13th, where disputes between film rights can have the trickle down effect of killing licensed games, even if those games are doing well and popular. So, to look into this idea, we got to talk more about the Crichton estate. Now, Michael Crichton wrote the original Jurassic Park book. That's I'm sure most of you know that, but it's worth, throwing this out here. He wrote the original draft for the movie, for the original 93 movie, and he was closely involved in the franchise back in those days. So, he had an investment, a keen interest in his book and in the franchise. This wasn't some little, he wrote one book and he just threw it out there and sold the rights and didn't care about it. He was closely involved to the point that he even wrote the screenplay. He wrote the sequel novel, The Lost World, largely because Steven Spielberg and Universal wanted to do a new movie, a second movie, and they wanted something from him to base it off of. Now, that's all well and good, but why do I think there might be a dispute issue here? Well, something is going on with the Crichton estate right now. The Crichton estate is currently embroiled in a legal battle over the rights to this show, The Pit. I've not seen this show. One of the, let's say, big successes Crichton had in film and TV media was the show ER. I never watched ER. I don't care about medical dramas. But he was involved in creating ER. It became very successful, and the rights to ER remain a very valuable part of the Crichton estate. Now, apparently, the Crichton estate spent a year negotiating for a reboot, and when that fell through, they claim that is what led to the creation of the Pit. The Pit came out of the ashes of an ER reboot, and because of that, they have essentially some rights to the show or want to shut it down. I don't know exactly what the goal here is. But the big point is just that the Crichton estate is currently involved in legal disputes over the rights to things, right? So maybe this is an isolated thing, right? Maybe they are defending their rights to ER. Maybe this isn't them sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. Maybe this is completely justified. I don't know the details. But it's an interesting piece of the puzzle, right? It's another tack on the tack board with a string wrapped around it leading to other things. What does it lead to? Well, things that might more closely affect the Jurassic franchise. Michael Crichton died pretty suddenly in 2008 from cancer. There was some hope he would recover from this, and his wife was pregnant with an unborn son. Michael Crichton never got around to updating his will. What this meant is when he died, his wife had to sue the estate on the son's behalf to get him added to the will and by extension added to the estate so that he would have a financial stake in the returns from his father's properties, intellectual properties. And this was apparently a long and drawn out court battle. This was not some simple, friendly, agreement between Michael's other child and his new wife and this new son. I think new wife. Sorry, I might be lying. But his other daughter was grown, and Crichton's had a few wives. So this was not some simple agreement of like adding the son into the estate. This was some protracted legal battle. It's very possible that this has resulted in maybe bad blood between the different parties that are in the Crichton estate, right? Maybe the grown daughter and the son, have different ideas on the franchise, on how the rights should be split, on how the money should come in, that kind of stuff. But why would this be happening now? Right? Why now? Well, the thing is, it's about 18 years since Crichton died. His son was actually born in 2009, so he's not 18 yet, but he would be, turning 18 soon. And, well, he'd be an adult. He might be taking much more of an interest in the franchise, much more of an interest in the rights and the money that comes in from that. It's possible that this isn't even directly driven by him. Perhaps, we don't know the details, right? There could be some sort of stipulations in the estate, in these licensing agreements that causes a renegotiation as he approaches adulthood, right? It might not even be him. It might just be legal agreements that have been there for 18 years. So maybe there's some broader renegotiation of how the rights of the Crichton estate are going to be used that just needs to be ironed out and is sitting, in arbitration or in dispute. Possibly, I mean, maybe this whole thing here with the Jurassic franchise is kind of just been sidelined because the Crichton estate has this other active lawsuit they're pursuing, right? So maybe their lawyers are too busy to take the time to sit down and hash out how the rights of the Jurassic franchise are going to go forward, and that has just kind of resulted in everybody freezing up because they don't want to make any push, release any new products or anything that isn't fully validated until this agreement is reached. Maybe, who knows? The complete rampant speculation on my part. I have no insider information on anything. This is just the result of 30 minutes to an hour of Googling, of looking at different stuff, of following discussion on this delay for, the last 2 months, and just thinking and spitballing, at the gym. So do not cite this as proof. Do not think that I have any idea what I am talking about. But this is where my head is at. So I thought I would share it. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Throw out your own theories. Poke holes in this. I would be very interested in knowing if anybody has any other pieces to add to this puzzle, or if they can, call bullshit on anything here. I'm very curious to know. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. See you later.